is 7 p.m. Would you stand and pledge allegiance to the flag with me, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Today is November 5th, 2012. Time is 7 p.m. and regular meeting of Greensburg Common Council is called to order. This time requesting that all cell phones, pagers, such as electronic devices be silenced, please. Roll call.
Blake.
Here.
Glenn.
Here.
Terry.
Here.
Daryl.
Here.
Jamie.
Here.
Thank you. You've had the minutes delivered to you from the October 1st meeting and the special October 15th meeting. Do you see any addendums or changes or additions to those minutes? Yes, sir.
We take them one at a time?
Sure. We'll go with the first.
Under the first item there for the trash collection ordinance, we've got on first reading as amended, and that's what happened. I just think it would be appropriate for the amendment to be noted in the minutes. This is a clarification as to what the amendment was. I don't know if that's what others think, but that's my first note.
What was the change then?
We had made a change in section 93.02, added the clause except for as provided in 93.13. And I just think minutes ought to include the amendment.
Do you have that? Change that?
I don't think it was put in motion. I went back to the author. I listened to the author. I don't think it was mentioned as part of the motion what the amendments were.
But the
Oh,
motion was made.
I don't know if it wasn't on the audio. I know we discussed it. I mean, Chris and Jamie brought it up. So,
If I may, one thing to do, just that would be, I believe, the sentence right before, where it says Glenn Tibby moved, a sentence that simply says an amendment to include the language except as provided for in 93.13 was made, then that would give reference to the amendment that you're discussing, and then you could keep the sentence as amended
right.
to cover the motion.
Yeah,
93.13.
Yeah, my notes indicated that the amendment was to section. The amendment was to section 93.03 and stated that it was moved. The amendment was to make reference to specifically to section 93.13.
Is noted at 93.03. So, was there actual language change there?
Yeah.
The clause except as provided for in section 93.13 was added for the amendment. Is that correct? Is that
Yes.
recollection?
Are there any other exceptions, Council?
I've got on the second page under the ordinance 2012-15 personnel policy. Move pass on first reading. Jamie King seconded, Glenn Tebby nays. Motion for first reading, but it doesn't say what happened in first reading. It should read that there were 4 pro and 1 against, for the motion passed. Under the next one, next section there, under the alley closing, it says it was recommended, but I think the minutes ought to reflect that it was recommended by the traffic committee that the alley not be closed. And under the next section there, the contract information on DLZ, and I didn't take careful of notes, or I don't recall what DLZ stands for. I guess I would ask that acronyms like that be specifically
I don't know what it stands for.
stated.
It's not an
It's not an acronym,
That's their
it's
name.
the
Name of the firm, DLZ.
It's on. That's what it
Well,
is.
on contract information, well, then we ought to know what the contract was for in these minutes.
So the DLZ Engineering,
That
No,
was
it was
ADA.
DLZ Inc.
Inc.
That's it.
And what was the contract for again?
ADA then.
The ADA, preparation of the ADA transition plan.
Okay. I guess I would ask that that be clarified in the minutes.
I mean, if I, point of information, I would suggest, you may change on in that to from. I think that would help clarify your,
Put it in.
the issue, and then add a clause regarding ADA compliance after DLZ.
That would be helpful. And then the last one, or less than that page, on the budget for third reading, those ordinances were amended from the original, and it's not noted here in the minutes. I know that the ordinance itself probably has correct information in there, but I just, we did amend those ordinances as we went through the process. We didn't amend it until the third reading. So I just think it might also be proper to note that in the minutes.
If we say amended, then are we gonna address what each of the amendments were? There were amendments.
Yeah, we had
Each
actually
time.
one amendment to it completely. We amended it once. Each of the, well, actually, we only amended the budget. The ordinance for the salary and wages were not
2012
amended.
dash
The
14.
city employees and officer, those were not amended. Elected officials was not amended.
2012-14 was amended.
That one was amended.
Anything else, council? Okay, let's look at October 15th. It's not here for that meeting.
I don't know whether it's proper or not.
I apologize, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just want to make sure I'm clear from where, to step back. Are you asking that the minutes be amended to reflect what those amendments were on 2012-14?
No, that-
Or just the 24-12-14? 2012-14 was passed as amended?
As amended, right? In an amended form.
Yeah, in an amended format. Thank you, I apologize.
On October 15th minutes, typically, council meetings are always chaired by you, the mayor, of course, because that's in statute basically, but when the mayor is not present, another person can chair. I don't know if it's proper or not with these minutes, if there should be a presiding officer noted.
Which would have been
There.
being president of the council.
I just, because it also, absent was Mayor Herbert and Councilman Wagner, may not be critical. I just bring it up for a question, if that's proper.
Well, he would have been the presiding officer at that meeting, correct?
Correct. What I would recommend doing is add a parenthetical after Darrell Pullman on the present and indicate acting presiding officer, so that that's clear in the minutes.
Anything else, gentlemen? If there are no more corrections, I entertain a motion to accept the October 1st regular meeting and the October 15th special council meeting as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay, same. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none. Motion passes. Thank you. Old business. Mr. Mark Klosterkemper, 2012-16 garbage and trash ordinance.
I think the amendment that you requested, that we discussed, has been placed into the ordinance. None of that is as we approved last meeting and nothing's changed.
And it was advertised?
Yes.
I haven't heard any.
October 12th, daily and weekly paper.
I haven't even had any feedback after that.
Nor have I.
Move second reading passage.
Second.
Any further discussion? Need a vote on ordinance 2012-16 garbage trash ordinance. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Wait a minute, we would like to
You
say
have that
something.
opportunity. You would have that opportunity. All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, passes second reading. And the reason I went that route was if we do decide to suspend the rules and go to third reading, we'd like to give the opportunity to the audience to speak before that. So, anyone from the audience like to come forward and speak regarding the trash ordinance?
All at one time or one at a time?
One at a time. Hey, could you please state your name, ma'am?
My name is Mary Preble, and I have a set of 7 apartments on Main Street. I understand the heavy-duty part. I thoroughly agree. That makes sense to me. But if I have 6 garbage cans sitting out in front of my apartment, garbage men stop once, pick up 6 garbage cans, I don't see what the problem is, where if they go down the road and they have to make 6 stops at 6 different places, why I am penalized because I have 6 in one place, and I am paying for the same as everybody that gets one. I agree to everything else. I think right, picking up the bad stuff, the heavy stuff, I don't think that's right. I don't argue with that. But not picking up my regular 6 garbage cans makes no sense to me. And that's why I'm here, is to object to not picking up the 6 little individual garbage cans that I have. I do understand the rest, and I agree with the rest. That's all I want to say.
Ms. Preble, is each apartment on a different water meter, or are they all together?
All together. All together, all the utilities are on one. And that's why I'm objecting.
Are there 6 different units, is that what you're saying?
Yes, and they're just one people in them. It's not like it's big garbage cans, because I've checked. Sometimes I have 4, sometimes there's 6, sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's none. So it's not like I have an overabundance all the time. Once in a while, yes, there might be more than one garbage can, but they only all have one garbage can. So that's what I want to ask about, is why the few individuals. I understand if you have, a whole bunch, but if you only pick up those 6 and you have to go down the road and make 6 more stops someplace, it shouldn't be that big a deal to pick up 6 all in a row.
I have another question. Are you paying $350 a month or 6 times the $350?
$650 times. I mean,
6 times
$350 times, well, actually 7, yeah. And at times each one. So it's not like I'm only paying one pickup, too.
Ma'am, I apologize, could you, Ms. Preble?
Yes.
Would you be willing to please spell your name for the record so we can make sure we get it right?
P-R-E-B as in boy, L-D.
Thank you.
Mr. Jackson?
I guess my thinking is, there's not really a good answer, but, we've got in this business and things are taxes and everything. If the space that we have, our next option would be get a dumpster, I assume that's what we're thinking. And I think that would be hard on me, plus some of the places, I got a couple downtown that have 4 units, and there's no room for dumpsters now. And if you have a dumpster, everybody sits there, well, there's a dumpster, I'm gonna put my trash, you gotta lock it up. I'd probably prefer to pay a little more, if that could be an option, to pay a little more to try to rectify this. It might be something, if anybody builds something new, maybe it could be an ordinance or something, but I think it's kind of hard on some of these places because they were small, compact. Most of mine have 2 water bills for one place that has 4 or 5 units. They were split at one time, but I just really don't have a good answer for you. I'm okay with the penalizing or not letting people pick up, set everything outside. I understand you want to get the place looking good, but it just seems like there might be some other alternative. I mean, I really don't know what your end game was. Was the end game that if you have 4 more units, there's not going to be a trash pickup there? Is that the?
Well, we're trying to reduce the cost of picking up commercial property, which is in our ordinance that we're supposed to do. And, if more than 2 units is commercial, then that kind of fell in the definition. And, we're willing to listen.
Yeah, well, and that's what I said. I mean, you guys are going to do what you're probably going to do. I just think we got in this business at one time we were all making a little extra money, taxes and insurance, and nobody's got jobs and everything sucks. So we're pretty much just hanging on by the skin of our teeth. Maybe tie it to the economy. Things pick up, we call do something better. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I just know it's going to make it hardship on me. I think it's going to be a mess. I can't even get them to, when there is trash pickup, to do the right thing. Like I said, they've got people that bring stuff from other places and set them on my property, just tires all the time, carpet. That's not even my stuff. So, but, I don't look for another solution besides.
Do you have any recommendations?
No, I hadn't thought about it. I really hadn't thought about it too much. I didn't know what this consisted of tonight. We're looking for, but I know there's about 6 or 7 of us here probably that have multiple units. I've got 3 that would fall into the category. 2 of them are old town buildings downtown. I've already got one. The other one is the 4 unit across from Broadway Florist over there. I don't know. Just.
And Rick, I remember when the city of Greensburg did not have a trash truck.
Really?
And everyone there was responsible for hauling their own to the dump and what have you. And that's probably why we have a trash truck, because people didn't take care of their property and haul the trash off in a responsible manner in a reasonable amount of time. So that's probably why we have the trash truck now.
Well, I guess my option would be to charge us more money, versus take what a dumpster would cost. If you're going to be there picking it up, keep it the status quo. I'd just assume pay a little bit extra as having to deal with trying to monitor a dumpster. If that can work out. So that's all I got.
Sure. Questions?
I just need some clarification. A place where there's 4 units, it's all on one water meter, is that what you're saying?
I think that was either 1 or 2.
And what we try to get away from, as I understand it, was commercial properties. And in part because it's commercial, in part because of the amount of tree protection. And I'm trying to think in terms of Mary's concern, if there are 4 different,
She has 6 different,
or 6 different,
tenants, 6 different meters.
6 different meters, then why wouldn't those be considered individual?
It could be, but it is commercial. You can have exclusions, but it is commercial.
It's a commercial by definition of what?
Well, that's the way we're taxed. It's
It's,
commercial business.
but basically, it's multiple unit, that makes it commercial.
I
Makes
got
it
it.
harder on the taxes, we pay more taxes.
Twice the amount that they
Harder,
used to.
harder to get.
Well, you don't pay more than
Okay.
somebody that
Okay.
rents out a home, that's an individual home. Though that's, if it's a rental home, you pay the 2%.
Okay.
That's there's the difference there. The difference comes in somebody that owns 6 different places and has, 6 different individual homes on 3 different blocks. Those individual places are considered an individual stop and a residence, and therefore picked up, as opposed to one place where there's 6 in a row, and
To be fair,
I guess I'm just looking at it from the standpoint, if they're paying individual, I don't know how to.
No.
We can
You're saying you don't
before we
know.
finalize it next month, but
I mean, you got new people coming to town, right, for the motel and the wine and stuff. I mean, it seems to me like you want to attract new people. Is that something that not something that could be grandfathered in, people that had it before, but, like I said, I just think the charge, an extra charge would probably be the best way for me to put it, but, because I really don't think you have a very good answer, probably, really something.
what Glenn's trying to say is, you have one unit, one house unit with 6 clients, or tenants, and then you have another person who may have 6 individual homes. Same situation with a family per dwelling.
Right, but like you said, it's commercial, but I don't think that.
And it gets into the question of apartment building too, that's another part, that's the other piece of it, and so what's the definition of apartment building? That's another part. Because we don't pick up apartments, and we don't want to move in that direction, so it's
Well, there could be some unintended consequences for making the place look reality or whatever, but,
I just want to ask one thing.
I read the original ordinance before you changed it, and it says nothing about apartments being commercial. The original ordinance says rental properties, individuals, homes, duals. It says that on the original ordinance. So what I read, and then I may be wrong, that the basic thing was making sure you said 3 or more is commercial. That was the bottom line that would make us then commercial. Because on the original ordinance, the very first one before this one, the older one, I read, where you were picking up trash, it doesn't say anything about not picking up apartments. It says commercial, like great big buildings with lots of apartments. It says 2 or 3 inhabited residences would be considered picked up by garbage. Then the main thing of the new ordinance to me read, I'm changing it, that part to say anything more than 3 now is commercial. That was the big part that got me, was now I'm commercial where I wasn't before because I got 3 or more.
There's more than 2.
well, I don't know that it's, I'm not sure where, I'd have to go back and reread it carefully, but we have here, section 9310 says that collection available to residents, city only, and Garbage that originates outside city limits shall not be collected. Shall be placed in the city at the residence of, and such garbage is placed in the residence of a resident is not going to be collected. Then it says, collection from residences only. Garbage and trash collection service shall be provided by the city for individual residential dwellings. No such service shall be provided for commercial establishments.
Yes,
And there's nothing there about
right.
numbers that I see at this
Exactly.
point in time.
If I may, and part of your concern may be that commercial establishments is a defined term by the ordinance, so you may need to capitalize that to indicate it's a defined term. But under the definition of commercial establishments,
Right, there's
you
three
indicate
or
that,
more.
that any, any facility with residential purposes containing 3 or more residential living units under one roof is a commercial establishment.
Right.
You also indicate, although mobile home complex is not defined, that any mobile home complex with 5 or more individual homes. Arguably, your scenario of a landlord having 6 individual residential units, although there would be some question as to whether or not they fell within a mobile home complex, if they were significantly spread out across the city, you may not have that issue. But if you had them within a 2 or 3 block area, you could make the argument that they were a mobile home complex and would fall. Well, you don't have a definition of mobile home complex. Now, I would then you would get into the issue of the fact that they're on a foundation versus, it would depend on what the home is at that point, I think. But that is where you get your definition of commercial.
And we have a situation that the home facility on Moscow Road, and you have the one on Park Road.
You have one on First Street, 4th Street, behind the Ponderosa.
So it's our intent not to pick those up, right?
That's right.
I'm Keith Reed. I used to own the Reed's Trailer Park. If you guys have a question on mobile homes, I'd be glad to answer your questions. One, the Board of Health came to me 10 years ago and told me I would have to have 2 30-gallon trash cans per unit set outside with a lid. I had the option. Now, the city was picking up my trash. I had the option whether I was the city to pick it up or I was going to put these trash cans out. I was the first one enacted to put a dumpster in. That took care of my trash problem. Hauling couches and whatever still was my responsibility. I could break it up, put it into the dumpster, and they would dispose of it that way. Or I would, a lot of times, renters would leave their trash, and I would take the trash to wherever they were moving. It's not very ethical. I've been known to take it to the wrong address. So, but some mobile, like my mobile home, each lot was individually. None of them are on a foundation. They're all strapped down. This village, none of them are on a permanent foundation, if I remember. There's 100 homes there, so you guys can do the math. The city at that time would take $2 off the individual water bill because I furnish trash removal. But it is definitely up to the city to set the rules. It is not the Board of Health. The Board of Health will enact it. So do you have any other questions?
Thank you, Keith.
I'm Connie McCracken. I'm saying the same thing, maybe different. My son and I together own 4, let's say, houses. They've got 3 or 4 units in them. We too pay. I've got 3 meters at some of them I've got 2 meters. But regardless, I pay per unit on my sewage bill for trash pickup. mean, even if I've only got 2 water bills and I've got 4 apartments, I pay for 4 trash pickups at that one place. And we own, like I said, 4 of those kind of homes. And I own one that's got 6 in it. And my son owns Rain Motel. He lives in Texas, so I'm speaking for him. I can understand heavy trash pickup, and I know it's in the ordinance, and I believe you shouldn't do it, and I'm in total agreement with that. And it's very good you decided to enforce that. But this not picking up trash, I mean, it's a wide range problem. It's not just a few. There's a lot of people in the community that have 3 units in a house. I have 2 houses there. I don't know how on earth I'd get a dumpster in there. I'm single, I don't have a pickup, I get the well, I could pay for it, of course. And I don't quite know where the city, why they want to do this. I tried to read the ordinance, I tried to understand why we want to do this. You're getting paid the same at my 3-unit house for 3 trash pickups as you are at 3 individual homes. You're getting the same amount of money for that trash pickup. So I'm not sure where you're trying to get to. Whether that would be my main question. I don't want to pay more, but like Mr. Jackson.
Either, but that's better than paying $50 a week for
But
the
it's
dumpster.
better than trying to put, and I've had trash dumpsters before at a couple of rentals where there was almost room, and it becomes terrible. People come around that don't even live there, people that drive by, because there's a dumpster sitting there, they dump their trash there. We try keeping them locked, they cut the locks. It's not a simple answer for us just to pay for a trash dumpster. It really isn't. So I would plead to reconsider this before you do it too quickly.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. Ma'am, could you spell your name, please?
Connie McCracken, MC, CRACKEN.
Thank you.
And my son is Donald McCracken, and he owns property also.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else in the
Yeah,
audience?
I think John wants to say something.
Come on, John.
I don't really have much to say. I don't know why he's got me here. Anyway, I'm just kind of getting in on this, and I'm listening, and I don't understand why they want to quit hauling trash if them people are paying the same amount. You know, if they're being billed just like I'm in an individual house, I pay my bill, right? And it's on my bill. There's 3 people in this house, they all pay their bill. You know, I don't see what the difference is or why they're wanting to change it if the bills are being paid. If they're in a unit where there's only, let's say it's a 6-unit place and there's only 2 water bills, charge them through whatever the trash pickup is for each one of them. I mean, and if they do, why do they want to stop picking it up? What is different for them people than the other people?
And a lot of it, John, is not what happens week to week at the $3.50 per month. You know, the city's not making money on it. It's
Well, do they need to raise the fee for everybody?
Here's the situation. And, you know, we can show you picture after picture, mostly rentals.
I've been there.
Move
I know.
in, move out. And when they move out, they leave a truckload of junk.
Yeah, but Gary, we've been dealing with that.
Okay, here's the thing though. Why should the person that owns that house be responsible for these people that are doing it? Why don't we make the people that are doing it stand up and be responsible? Why don't we get them to pay what it costs? Why doesn't the city take these people that left the trash? It's theirs.
We're not police, so
I know.
the owner of the apartment, the owner that has the units is the landlord of the people, so they're the ones that should have to take care of the problem.
Okay. But if people move out of a regular house and they leave their trash, what's the difference?
Well, when a person moves every 10 or 15 or 20 years, we don't mind once in a while going helping them out, you know. 'cause it doesn't happen
And then let me tell you what, as a landlord, you know, I would be glad to pay extra to the city when they have to come to a place and pick it up. Because I'm going to have to pay anyway to have it hauled, or I'm going to have to do it myself. If the city comes up with a reasonable price, I would be glad to pay them just while they're there to do it, rather than us to have to deal with it. And I know it's a problem. I know what a problem it is because I've had them. I've had
Good ones and bad ones.
I've had from the best to the worst.
And you know-
15 years I've been doing it, I've seen it come and go. But, you know, I just don't get the reason why, if these people are paying their water bill and paying for their trash pickup, why we're gonna put them to the curb. I don't see it. And if, you know, if it's a matter of money, then why don't we go from $3.50 to $4.50 for everybody? Or if trash is, because you can't throw trash away. It costs money to get rid of trash. That's the bottom line. If it costs us more, then raise the price overall. What do we gotta do?
That is exactly what that fee is for, is to be able to dump materials into the.
Right, well, I know.
It's not for picking it up. That's already covered under general taxes and so forth. It's not for the cost involved of not only labor, but also equipment and gas and so forth. Money that's charged is specifically put into a fund.
They have it done.
And pay for the landfill. And that was begun because when the landfill changed a number of years ago, it went from county landfill where everybody in the county could utilize that without charge to a managed one where there was charges by everybody that utilized it. We had no way to cover those costs in our general fund. And in order to do that, this was many years ago, when I was on the council, we created a charge per unit. And with the intention that even then that we weren't picking up, or we weren't supposed to, I guess there were exceptions here and there and everywhere, but as far as I was understanding, there was to be no commercial because commercial properties, businesses, and so forth had their.
I'm on that end too.
And the apartment buildings, we weren't into apartment buildings from the start. Well, there was always these places beforehand who were receiving that and kind of been grandfathered in and grandfathered in. The problem we got to come up with is that we can't keep grandfathering in completely. And we got to find a way that we can manage this in a efficient manner, that we're not trying to keep books on this person, this charge, that charge. And we got to find a way that we're no longer going to be being taken advantage of by people just dumping stuff out and letting us, and all the citizens then pay for it. We're trying to find a way to have people that are responsible to take care of the problem. And the way to do that is through the homeowner, one, and then through the person who owns the property, who's a landlord, who has some sort of contractual and some sort of authority with regard to people.
I would be taking the court.
And we're not. So, and if that does happen, the new ordinance provides for, if we are forced to pick up the stuff that's sitting on the street or on the curb, from the standpoint of either health or safety or both, as well as just the aesthetics of it, then we are going to be authorized now to be able to charge a cost of what it costs to pick that up, man hours and other kinds of considerations for transporting it and dumping it and whatever else may be involved. And we were able to bill that responsible party, whether that's a homeowner or whether it's a landlord. Whoever owns the property is going to be billed. So we're trying to deal with it. I understand the concerns and you know, with the individual units, we might have to rethink this a little bit, but we do need to get away. We don't want to become the trash collector and provider for a large complex. That's the reason we picked 3 or more. Maybe 3 was too arbitrary, I don't know, but we don't want to become that. That really is part of the cost of doing business of a landlord in that kind of a setting, is what we're trying to say. You know, where you have a duplex, it's looked like a home, there's usually 2 people paying separate water bills and separate meters and so forth with regard to other kinds of utilities. So it's like 2 individual homes, just like a row house. So, we hear you. And
A lot of us have invested a lot of money and could end up with a lot of empty. I mean, I'm on the bubble all the time, trying to keep it down. They raised my taxes $150,000. Luckily, I went up there and got some of them lowered. One of them went $40,000 on a house I did no improvements to.
yeah,
So
I did too.
So I know what you're talking about. So there's times when
I understand.
the pump's getting primed on another spot.
I certainly understand.
I got a question. I've seen a couple places where they've tagged couches and stuff that people have put out. And like I say, I'm in agreement that, if I have a renter that moves out and they leave 2 truckloads of crap, I'm willing to pay the city, reasonable amount to haul it to me to deal with no
Right.
problem.
I
But
understand that.
where did they come up with the amount? Because like on one of them couches, I think I seen it was like $97 to take that couch.
Yeah.
It's the ordinance number.
Oh.
Everybody thinks
Oh, well,
that-
that's what I didn't know, but that's.
No, Chris, you're the attorney. The little sign per section, I don't know what that is, but it looks like 2 S's combined.
It's basically 2 S's. It looks a lot like a dollar symbol if you're just looking at it.
Well,
It's section
It means section
9703.
97.
Okay, well, I was told that's what I mean. I didn't know where they would come up with the price or how much to haul or something. But, that's just like, somehow we're gonna have to get rid of trash. And speaking of trash, not to throw this up, but every week they drive down the street and throw papers out all over the street out here, and I've got papers. What's it?
Most people don't like that, John. The newspaper does that.
Can they just drive down the road and throw them and just, you got trash laying everywhere,
Could be cause littering.
But anyway.
John, answer your first question. They're not really the city's responsibility. The tenants aren't. It starts with the landlord. You're the people who rent to them. We have ordinances that we follow. We can't take all this alone. We need support from landlords as well.
We're not asking to, and I'm willing to pay more. I think everybody is here, but, we bought them under, that's, the rules have kind of changed for us too, the goalpost movement since we bought them. And that's what the judge says when I take somebody to court, it used to cost $40, now it costs $100. As well, you knew the job when you got into it. Well, I guess I did, but,
Yeah, and I understand with heavy trash pickup, and you've always had that ordinance, and we didn't.
And on occasion, we have picked it up, haven't we?
We didn't enforce it, and so absolutely everybody took advantage of it, because honestly, I didn't know there was an ordinance. But you made that clear, and we've put that. And I assume all responsibility for that. Heavy trash pickup, when somebody moves, that's what they're mine to pay for to get rid of. And I accept that.
It's like the flooding.
Absolutely.
When you had a problem, we were
When
really
I had
glad
a
to help
problem
out.
with flooding, the city was awesome. They came down, they took care of me, and I appreciate that 100%. We went through that 3 times, by the way, the gas project finished. No, they were great, and we took advantage of that, and I appreciated it. And I don't want to take advantage of the city. And the heavy trash pickup is definitely something you needed to stop, and you have. But day-to-day, week-to-week trash pickup, since I pay the same in my home as I do for every individual unit I own, it doesn't seem quite fair, and I'm talking 3 and 4 units. I'm not talking 90 apartment complex.
Yeah, where do you stop on what size? Do you
Yeah,
decide 3
why
units?
did you decide 3 or
10
more
units,
to
15
make
units,
that
what
commercial?
size?
Well, right now, it was 2 units, but, duplex. Anything over 2 is commercial.
Anything over 2 is commercial.
That's what they-
Already, you didn't change that order.
No, that's
not
what it is
you're
in the
trying to
ordinance.
change.
That's the new one.
But we're willing, I think the council's willing to take a second look at it, another look.
Yeah, that's.
But is the cost is what it's costing us to get rid of the trash, is that where it's coming in? Is it a cost issue?
it's cost.
Is that something that, do they need to look at to, like say, do we need to raise everybody's 50 cents or $1?
I don't think so at
To
this
haul the
time.
trash? What are we looking at, or what are we talking?
It's not the majority of the people that does it, it's the minority.
Raise it on the apartment complex, it'd just be, I mean, like I said, you know, it's gonna cost, at least $50 a month, I probably said, no, $50 a month for a dumpster to come in there, so. Yeah, that's an each location, so if you put another $2 on the water bill for each unit, I mean, so $350 plus $550 for 4 units, so you get an extra $20, you're already there, you know, I mean.
We're willing to listen and see what we can do. So council, you want to take this under advisement and
I think that'd be the right thing to
have
do.
discussion between now and next month's meeting?
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. This is the first feedback I think we've received. And,
No, I don't.
we certainly want.
Well, how'd you find out? You come and see me.
He called me.
Harry called me, she reads the paper. It was a little tiny thing in the paper, one like
That's all we can afford. We're spending it all on trash
You know, you guys, Gary called me, I've got, for a while there, he told me, you know, you guys pick it up, you got for us to come, just leave it sit out there, and that's what we did for a while, and then he said, we're not gonna do that anymore, so we've all jumped on board, we'll get over and pick it up, call us, hey, that's over here, you know, I've tried to fix my places up, you know, I've spent every dime I got fixing these shit holes up, you know,
Well, we will discuss it, we will consider everything you said, and
we ain't getting rich. I would.
Thank you for listening.
thank you. Well, we can move on to the next item. Okay, I put on here funding for the AD compliance contract, and the reason I put that on there is to let you know that we weren't able to take that kind of money because it wasn't in the plan. Had Chris look at it, he thinks he should, and that's what we can do with the plan. So it was taken out of a rainy day, which is excessive.
I'd be happy to answer any questions the council may have as to my analysis of that statutory scheme and why we took it out of rainy days.
I'm curious, just give me the edited version here.
Yeah, the 10,000 foot viewpoint is that statutorily the edit statutes require a capital improvement plan to determine where the money will be spent. And although there is some ambiguity in the statute, it seems very clear, and although there's been no case law interpreting it, in my opinion, a case or court would be most likely to determine that if you were trying to expend funds outside of your capital improvement plan, that you're not authorized under edit. Therefore, I analyzed our current capital improvement plan in light of the purpose and in the scope of the contract for DLC. And while there are a couple of things within that contract that would fit arguably in certain project points in the capital improvement plan as it currently exists, the majority of the contract would not. So my analysis and recommendation to the mayor is if you want to use edit, you need to amend your capital improvement plan to more specifically address that specific allotment. Otherwise, use rating it.
Okay, next on the agenda, under new business, is Gary Murray, Village.
Sorry, I didn't get these in your packet. Dr. Welage is in the audience. He has purchased the house, the White House, or in the process of purchasing. I don't know if that's gone through yet or not. Yeah. The White House is the southwest corner of Lincoln and First. He's also purchased the old doctor's office. He intends to relocate his optometry business out there. He did go in front of the plan commission. You have a site plan and an aerial photo.
And this did go in front of the plan commission for consideration. It was unanimous recommendation that the property be rezoned from R2 to B2, and a
ordinance was put in your package for consideration first reading tonight. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Dr. Welage is here.
The setback can be a little further away from the street.
Yes, one of the conditions of the rezone was that additional right-of-way be granted along First Street to match what was taken for the single-family residence for the Lincoln Street expansion. So this will need to be replatted in order to eliminate the internal lot lines, so you don't have any setback issues. But it should be a good project. Planning Commission did not feel it was spot zoning, since just about everything else on Lincoln Street is B2 from that point north. So it made sense. Councilman Tebby's president of the Planning Commission. He could probably answer any questions. I don't know that there was a whole lot of discussion concerning this at the Planning Commission.
There was one neighbor there requested that it not be changed to B2 because beginning on First Street going south, it is R2. This would be the beginning of changing that. It is B2 north. And there was some discussion about, the request was leave it R2 and make an exception for this purpose, for a specific purpose, or some discussion about that. And I think given the nature of the purpose for which it's being asked, I didn't think it was all that problematic in making it a B2. But when you do make a B2, you do open it up for anything other than the optometrist